Hi everyone, that's welcome back to my channel again. My name is Wemimo and also known as that mom of five. As you're coming in, don't forget to like, drop a comment in the comment section, don't forget to share, don't forget to join my membership, and also drop a comment in the comment section if you're going to come back to watch this as a replay, and also share as well once you come back to watch as a replay. And I'm just here to share the tips of having looked after five kids, or I mean, how I strive, and how I strived and looked after five kids all on my own with my husband when they were really, really young. Like, where from the title there, I'm sure you could tell from the title there what we're saying, like, how I survived and traveled five kids in the United Kingdom where we had no families with us, there were no friends, I mean, there's nobody, it was just the two of us. And when I'm talking about this, I'm talking about 2006 because I came into the UK in 2006. So there's been lots of content on YouTube about mothers in abroad, mothers in diaspora, like maybe young mothers with young toddlers who are now in the abroad or in diaspora and they're struggling. Hi, fashion and lifestyle with Pearl. Thank you always for coming. Thank you, thank you. Don't forget to like and share. So, I mean, the recent months, there's been loads of videos from content creators, um, all complaining or struggling with the fact that they are now in the diaspora, in the abroad, and they are struggling when it comes to like multiple children and stuff like that. So I'm just going to do a quick summary about myself. So I'm a mom of five kids, and when I came into the United Kingdom, I had my first oldest daughter. She was already 1 year old when I came into the United Kingdom, and I went on to have four other children in the UK. And mind you, I had no siblings in the United Kingdom. I had no brother, no sister. They were all back home in Nigeria. My parents were back home in Nigeria. It was just me and my husband, nobody else. Even though we have a community of like African people, which we knew from the church. So then, where I was attending I think the first Redeemed Christian Church in Glasgow. I was a member of that church, but still, most of the members from that church they live far away from me, So even there's no point, there's no chance I was going to go give my kids to any of them to babysit for me. And even while I remember when I was having my kids, I think it was when I had my third child, which is my first son, who is 16 years old now. It was about 6 months old when I went back to school. So before I left Nigeria, I only had diploma in law, and it has always been my passion or my desire to purchase further education. Like I really want education. I really want to build a career for myself. I really want to be an independent mom. So when my son was 6 months old, I had him, and when he was 6 months old, I went back to higher education, which meant that I had to start all over again. Even though I had Nigerian qualifications, but obviously I need to get myself back into the education system here in the United Kingdom. So it was not an easy thing to do. It was not an easy thing to do, but we did survive. It was done. I had it done. I was able to kind of like go back and started all over again. And me starting all over again, I was in a class with like very, very young people, like people that are really, really young. When I mean people that are really, really young, these like students from the age of 17, students of 16 years old, they were in my class. So I went back to study. I think I just kind of like went to the line of computing, and further afterwards, while I was doing this course, I think before I went on to uni, I fell pregnant with my fourth baby as well. So I was just waiting to go into uni when I fell pregnant with my fourth number four, and then yeah, I went to uni, and I. I completed my first degree in information technology, which was kind of like easier because um which was a bit easier in a way because already I went in like as a third year student. I mean, I went straight into third year, which meant I only have to spend 2 years or something at uni. So I finished that, and I think before I completed that education as well, my first degree at uni, I fell pregnant with a number five baby. I was writing exams while I was pregnant. I was attending lectures at 9 o'clock in the morning. And where I lived to where my university was is about 45 minutes. I don't know how to drive as at then. And I would always leave very early in the morning to jump on the train, jump on the bus while I was pregnant. And we had one of these lecturers then that if he got into the lecture hall before you, it would not mark your attendance. He's not going to have any conversation with you. He's just going to let you know that for the fact that you go into the lecture room before you just missed your attendance. So I was surprised when I started this lecturer's class. Upon seeing, when I saw him, because I already heard a lot about him that if you go into the lecture room before you, it wouldn't mark you in. So I saw him now like running, and he was like, where was I running into going there? Where was I running? That I should be careful. And I'm like, oh, I've got his class and I want to go into class before he gets into the lecture room. He smiled and he was like, what's your name? So I gave him my name. Before we even got to the door of the lecture room, he marked me as present. So we're like, can you stop running now? So that was some of the experiences I remember back there. So I had all of the kids alongside when I was studying at uni with my first degree there. So on the other side, my husband was just doing his own thing. Men, if we're going to travel, they want to be closer to where their friends are, even though we've already moved to Scotland. And most of his friends were, living in England. So it was practically me and the kids, and they would just come over. If I kind of like, I'm like, for like, Miss Amma, where are you? When are you coming? So eventually, I think he eventually moved down when I had I think after I had my third child, that was when my husband moved down. But then, men, then they just want to do their own thing. They will leave all the work and stuff for the mothers to do. So that was how I carried on. I finished uni, and most of the job offers that I found, they were really not suitable because they were far. Like I had to kind of like attend. Those jobs were England, and there was no way I was going to move all 5 kids below the age of 5 down to England and stuff like that. So kind of like went back to retail. So yes, I have 5 kids and I was working retail. So I was working at first, I started at 16 hours because while I was going to uni full time, I was studying. While I was going to uni full time, I was working 16 hours a week. So my job was in a retail supermarket and I work Saturday, Sunday. So I barely go to church because I have to do my shift Saturday, Sunday while I go to uni 4 days in the week. So the extra one day that I have is when I, relax and maybe do my assignment and stuff like that. So that was that. So while I was raising these kids, I was working, which mothers of nowadays would not be able to do. Like, 5 kids all under below the age of 5, and I was still working part-time. So, like I said, I completed uni, and then when I finished uni, I increased my hours from 16 hours to 30 hours a week. So by this time, I believe my oldest has already started primary school. So in the morning, I would drop her at school, and on my way back, I'll pick her up from school while my husband will babysit the other 4 that are at home. So obviously, it's their dad. He knows what they want and stuff like that. So with all of my kids, I think I kind of like breastfed them up until they were 1, you know. And by the time before they even clock 1, they already have all of their wee baby teeth already coming out. So by the time they start biting me, I just put their hand to breastfeeding. So I breastfed all of my babies. So by the time I finished uni there, I believe my first oldest um was already in primary 1. I think she had started primary school then, yes. So once I'm going to work in the morning, and remember by this time I was still not driving, I still don't know how to drive yet. So my husband would be the one to drop me at work and then take my oldest to school and then go back home with the remaining 4. And I think my second oldest was of nursery age then. So she would go to 2.5 hours of nursery in a day, and then my husband would be the one to do all of the rest. He was practically the one driving, and also maybe if I was driving then, I would have been able to kind of like, drive myself back to work, drop my daughter at school, and then pick both of them up. So that was how we kind of like juggling it then. So I was working full time, and my husband was practically the one babysitting. So um, that was how we practically did it. So the kids started growing older, they started growing older, and I think the first 3 went to school. They started primary school, and we still have the 2 younger ones. So which means that I was still working part time, and most of the time my husband would, it was more like look, was more like babysitting the kids. And when I come back from work, he goes to his own work. So I was working day because I don't joke with my sleep, and he would pick up agency shift at night. So I believe I think when I finished uni, I kind of like started learning to drive because I really needed to start learning. Like if you're a mom one tip. I hope you've got your pen and paper. If you're a mom, let me move this closer so that you can see me clearly. So if you're a mom, one thing you want to give to yourself, if you have the resources, is to learn how to drive. If you are in the diaspora, if you are in Obodo Oyinbo, and you are a mom, one thing you need to do is learn how to drive. Like that was the most expensive gift I gifted myself when I got my settlement in the UK. Being able to drive will help you in a lot of ways as a diaspora mom who has multiple children. So in my case, I have 5 children. I do not know how to drive as at then. So I think I started driving in year 2000 and was it 2016? That was when I started driving. That was when I passed my drive. Hi, Rebel. Thanks for coming. Happy Sunday. So, like I said, one tip there. I hope you've got your pen. Learn how to drive. It will help you in a lot of ways because at some point I would need to go somewhere and I'll ask my husband to take me, and then we will have arguments. Oh, he's tired, it's this. And I'll be like, okay, I'm going to go food shopping. We can take the kids in the car. We could like you could just make things easier for me, like shop for food, just pop everything in the car, but then we will have arguments and I'll storm out of the house. I'll go for food shop. Obviously, I will leave all the kids with him because there's no way I'm going to take all those kids with me to go shop for food. So I will leave the kids with him, get on the bus to go shop for food, and then I'll take a taxi back. So the kids were kind of like, I think all of them, they were kind of like going gradually. Like I said, we were doing things like if it was just me alone, I would have struggled. I have to be honest with you. There's no way I was going to look after 5 kids on my own and still be working full time. It was just not possible. Like I've not seen the person. I have not seen the person. Maybe single moms with 2 kids, but someone with 5 children on their own, not in the diaspora, no. So today I'm just going to be sharing with you the tips that helped me, the things that I did that helped me along the line when my kids were really, really young. I was able to thrive, pursue a career, go to uni, still work on your side. And and here I am, the kids are there. You could see the pictures on my community there. The kids are there, they are all grown, and I look at them and I give myself a big pat on my shoulder to say, Women, well done. And also, I'm not going to take all the credit for this. Their dad was a part of it 100% as well. Even most times when we have our fallout, our shortcomings, he just leaves me with them. And as a woman now, we know how to take our bunch of flesh back. So, number one thing that helped me, I've got 11 tips I'm going to be sharing with you today. Some of them you might say, it's not possible, but trust me, when thinking back now, those were the things that I did. And it really helped me in a great deal. So the first thing is that make your health a priority. Make your health a priority. I used to be a very, very strong and agile person. Before I started having my babies, I used to skip. I skip every day. I'm not into sports or anything like that, but I skip every day. Like I've got skipping rope and I skip every day. But when I started having my kids, it became really difficult. Like after I had my last child, it was really hard. Like my back, like if I was on my feet for an hour, I will have to sit down or else it feels as if I'm going to fall over. So obviously that's one of the effects of having too many children. So that was why I said you need to make your health a priority. No excuses at all. It's the most important thing you need to do first, because if you're not healthy, how do you want to look after the wee ones, the little kids you've got around you that you never see kids between the age of like all of mine were all below the age of 10 at this point, and they are at their most active time. Like kids, they're active. When you expect them to sleep, they won't sleep. So maybe when I'm trying to catch a snooze, that's when they'll be like going about. So your health is very, very important. Make sure that you're eating healthy, you're sleeping, you're doing what you're supposed to do to keep yourself healthy. There used to be a time whereby if I'm in the kitchen, I could cook from morning till night. I could cook multiple dishes just because I love back cooking. But after I had all of my kids, I just couldn't do that anymore. I only just have to cook a dish, and then the next thing is my bed because my back is killing me. The only issue in terms of my health I had then was my back, because if I have to stand for a very long time, I think my back will go stiff or lock in a way, and it will be really, really sore. So number one thing is make your health a priority. There's no excuse at all. See, the time you're going to use to look after yourself, it's not going to take away from the time you're going to spend with your children. So Your number one tip is make your health a priority. So number two thing that helped me was that you need to get enough sleep. Even till now, I don't joke with my sleep. So as at then, my routine was that I would wake up at 5 in the morning to start getting myself ready. So the things that I needed the day after, like say if I was going to work tomorrow, Monday, I will have sought all the things that I need the night before. Anything that I could do the night before, I make sure I do it. So maybe like the clothes, the outfit the kids are going to wear, their shoes, make sure there's socks in them. And at this stage as well, I was training my kids up to be able to dress themselves up. So I'll make sure everything's set out, laid down on the sofa for them. So when I wake up at 5 in the morning, that's me. That's my day started already. So me waking up at 5 in the morning, can you guess what time I go to bed? Just guess. Drop a comment in the comment section there. Let me read. If you are able to guess, if you get it right, I'll let you know. So get enough sleep. If you're not sleeping well, you'll be exhausted. And if you're exhausted, there's no way I want to be able to run after 5 children. It's just not possible. You can't do it. And most of the time, when my kids were much, much younger, they would come to me. Like they would come to me, and that time I used to wish that go to your dad, go to your dad, go to your dad, but no, they would come to me when they were much younger. When they were all below that age, you saw in the picture I shared on my community, they would always come to me. So getting enough sleep then was paramount, and even till now, if I had any chance to sleep, guys, I am taking the opportunity to sleep. As you're coming in, please don't forget to like as well and share. There's 4 of us watching. So number three tip that helped me to thrive, to survive, looking after 5 kids under the age of 10 and being able to hold a job, being able to go to uni full time was wake up before your kids. So like I was saying in number two, that you need to get enough sleep. If you get to bed early, you wake up on time. So then I was waking up at 5 in the morning. There have been times I was waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning at 4. So over the years, I've gotten used to waking up at that time. So even if I'm not going out, even if I just want to be at home, like now for the past 8 days now, because it was my birthday last week, I'm off work for 10 days. Even though I'm not going into work, I've been waking up at half 5 in the morning. So you know what? I think when it's half 5, my body just knows that it's that time of the morning, and I just have to get up. So wake up before your kids, which means that you are able to get things done before they start to wake up. So if you need to pack their lunches, if you need to pack their bags, like when I was going to college and uni, then I would have to pack my youngest. When they go to nursery, you need to pack a bag for them with 2 change of clothes, nappies, baby food, and stuff like that. You need to pack all of those stuff in the bag for them. So I will do this. The ones I could do the night before, I will do it the night before. And if it comes to their food, like baby milk and stuff like that, I'll do it on the spot before we leave home. So waking up before your kids will allow you to do that before they start to wake up. So remember, put this in mind, with the back of your mind, that when I'm doing these things, my kids watch me, like they're able to do it as well, but I just don't allow them to fear of them poorly or spilling hot water on themselves. I just have to make sure that I'm keeping an eye on them and I'm watching them as well. So if you wake up on time, you get things done on time and you won't struggle. So that's tip number three that helped me survive and thrive, which helped me and my husband, let's say. But I'm just going to be referring to me now because obviously when two join together, they become what? One. So which helped me looked after 5 kids. So number four tip that I'm going to be sharing with you that helped me thrive and looked after my amazing kids was I set my intentions in the morning. So with that, thankfully my phone, you just have to make a list. I have my phone, a notepad. The notepad on my phone is my go-to. So if there's anything that I know that I needed to do, I just put it in my notepad. If I means I have to write, make a to-do list that this is what I want to do. This is what I want, the things that is more important for me to do first, or the thing that I think is very important that I get done. Maybe if I have an hospital appointment that I know that I must not miss, I will have jotted that down. If it means that I'm going to do it that day, it will be on the top of my list that I've got this appointment, I need to make it. If I want to be at work, if I'm going to be at uni that day, I will have sought for means of either taking some time off to attend my appointment. And when you work in retail, retail is quite flexible as compared to other job industry. So if I were to have an appointment at 11 o'clock, and then I was starting my job at 8 o'clock, I could go to work, and then when it's half 10, I would leave to go, go to my appointment. So this time I think I was already driving. So I started driving in 2016. So by this time I was already driving. So it was much easier. That was what I said. Learning how to drive is a very important, one of the most important thing you can ever do for yourself if you are a mom with multiple children in diaspora, in abroad, where you've got no family, no relatives, nobody to help you, or else you just be wasting all of your money on taxes. And then come winter, when it's cold, you're going to be standing in bus stops with your, you know, even for the fact that I remember, I just said I just kind of like joggled my memory back to when before I started driving, when I used to go when I was going to college. Then, like I've had my kids. There's one in the trolley and there's one in the pram, and there's two of them old. And when I just had three of them, and both of them will be on the side, and both of the three of them were at different nurseries. So the girls were at a different nursery, and the boy, my first boy, was at a different nursery, and I have to get to class before 9 o'clock in the morning, or by 9 o'clock in the morning. So which means I was leaving home very early in the morning. So the two girls, their nursery is just about 10 minutes away from where we live. So juggling on the bus to that one was easier to get to. But my son, his nursery is on the way to my college, but it's like halfway through. So I'll take a bus to go drop the two girls, take a bus back to connect with the bus on another route to take me to where my son's nursery. So when I drop halfway, I do a 15 minutes walk, because the buses that run to where his nursery is, it's not always on time. So rather than waiting, I'll just do the walk, go drop him, and then I would run because I know the time for the bus that will take me to my college. If I miss that bus, I'll be late to class. And then once I drop my son, I will run to meet that bus. And most of the time, the bus is either 5 minutes late, which is all right. And then at the end of the day, I'm catching up with the bus. So this time, my husband still drives, but obviously because no men, it just cannot be bothered. Just because it's helped me get the kids ready in the morning, it often can like leaves me to drop them. However, in the afternoon, when I know there will be traffic everywhere, because nursery, then if you arrive late to collect your child at nursery, if you're just 10 minutes late and you've not called them, so you're going to be late, they will charge you for every 10 minutes you get late to pick up your child. They will charge you an extra money for that. And during all this time while I was at college, I was fortunate enough, I was not paying to my pocket. The college was paying for my childcare, and this is dependent on your attendance and at your performance at college. So if you're not attending all the time and your performance is not the right home about, they would query why you're not coming into college, your attendance is poor, your work is poor. So why do you have to go drop your child at nursery they are paying for when you're not attending? So it's common sense. So like I said, set your intentions in the morning, let know what you're doing, prioritize your health, so you're not doing too much whereby you are exhausted, you're overwhelmed, and you just feel like crashing. So having multiple kids, you don't want to crash. That's the least thing that should be on what could happen to you. You don't want to crash. So that's my number 4 tip of what helped me. I've got my notes here, so I'm staring at it so I don't miss anything else. So that's number 4 thing that helped me, and I believe that mom in diasporas out there, those who are maybe in another country, or you're just you're a new mom in a new country you've never been before. Maybe your husband's been there before and you've just gone to go join your husband and you're struggling. Trust me, this tip will help you, because it helped me, and I wouldn't have done it any other way. So number 5 tip that kind of like helped me. People often say that, oh, they can't believe I've got 5 kids and I look this young. I'm not young. Like my face might look young, my mind might look young, but my body is not young. Your body that's giving birth to 5 single births each time. So they're all 5 single births. I never had twin, and they were all natural births, no CS, no nothing. So my body is erect, my body is tired. So at times when I go to work, my colleagues ask me, like, "Oh, Webby, what are you doing this weekend?" And I'll tell them my bed, and that's what I would do, because I'd rather stay at home, lie down on my bed, than be frolicking around town. So another tip is exercise. So when I'm talking about exercise, I wasn't going to the gym, no. So then I used to walk. So if I need to go on a shop to go get some supplies, I would walk rather than waiting for my husband to, to drop me. So these are the things that I was doing before I started to drive. So I didn't start driving until 2016. So all of these tips were what helped me before I started driving. So I just use as a form of exercise, and then I was very, very conscious of what I eat. So the shop is about 15 minutes away from where we lived. I would walk. and go do the food shopping. So that was my exercise there. So I would walk, and I would dance with the kids. They keep me active. I would dance with their cartoon song. We would dance in the house, run around. So that was my form of exercise. So, and it kind of like helped me. So maybe that's what is still helping with my physique nowadays. But I would say I've added on a lot of weight recently because I've been eating anything and everything that I see. Don't blame me. Don't blame me. You got the jazz. So number 6 tip of what helped me strive and strive to look after my kids, that helped me when I was raising my kids up, was that pick your battles wisely. So when I say pick your battles wisely, you can't do everything at once. You can't do everything at once. So if there's anything that you need to do that will only take you 1 minute to do it. Don't push it back. So maybe you are in the kitchen, you are cooking, and while you are waiting for that pepper to fry, and there's sparks of pepper on the kitchen wall. So while you are waiting for that pepper or that sauce you are using to fry, you can just get a wee mop or a wee cloth and wipe that splash of oil or any splash you see on the pepper. So take you 5 minutes to do that. So take you 5 minutes to do that. I don't know what happened. They just went. So anything that will take you 5 minutes to do it. At that instant, you think, oh, I could do this. Do it. Don't push it back. Don't think, oh, I'll come back and do it later. Don't do it. Just do it. And same thing goes, like, obviously for me, I've got girls. I was the one who make my children's hair. And during that time, I ensure that I either braid their hair. I don't like leaving their hair in ponytails because they've got natural hair, and the stress that comes with natural hair and children. So I don't often put their hairs in ponytails. So the only time I put their hair in ponytails is maybe I've just washed it and I just want it to hair dry. That was the only time I was putting it in ponytail. But most of the time I learned to braid, I learned to cornrow myself. I trained myself to learn how to do that. As a girl mom, another tip for you: if you have girl children and you don't want to be spending your money as an hairdresser, you need to learn how to make your children's hair. Even if it is just putting it in like 6 sections and try and plait it. Go to YouTube, go on YouTube. There are videos that will teach you how to do simple plaits. If you section your children's hair to like 6 sections and put some bubbles around it, there are videos that will help you. As a girl child mom, you just have to know how to make hair, especially in this abroad, especially if you're in diaspora, because braiding a child's hair now will cost you nothing less than 80 or 90 pounds to make your child's hair, no matter how young they are. No matter how you think the hairstyle is, yeah, it's going to cost that much. I mean, it was my daughter's birthday last week there, and she said she wanted a cornrow. So I contacted my hairdresser to say, oh, my daughter wants to braid her hair. And she was that style my daughter wanted is 90 pounds, and it's excluding extensions. So I'm like, what? And I could have easily made that hairstyle for my daughter, but because she was behaving badly, and I was like, nah, I'm not gonna make her hair. She should put up her hair the way it is. So as a girl child mom, you have to learn how to make your child's hair. So which means that maybe at your downtime, maybe on the weekend, Saturday, when you are both chilling, when you're all chilling in the afternoon, you can just make their hair, you know. And at times, if their hair looks rough, I just brush it. Who's looking at how my kids look? Yeah, their hair might be a bit, but they are well dressed, and we've greased, all the grease and oil or gel. I've greased their hair and it's looking perfect. So I'm not bothered about that. So that's why I say, what, you need to pick your battles wisely. I don't battle over my children's hair or clothing. As long as the clothing is neat, it's not dirty, and it smells good, that's enough for me. Maybe when we have parties or occasions, then I'll put in extra effort to make sure they are looking perfect. But if they're going to nursery, jeans, trousers, like, then in the days when we have Woolworths in the United Kingdom, that's where I would normally go to buy clothing for my kids, and I'll buy them in complete set, and they will look absolutely smart in those outfits. I mean, yes, this morning when I was looking back in my external hard drive where I saved all of their baby pictures, my kids are cute. My kids were cute in those outfits. Me looking at those pictures, I was just smiling to myself. Like, wow. Now these kids, Woolworth was my go-to when I was buying their clothes, and H&M was my go-to when I would buy their clothes, because H&M, obviously, then the cost of things now has impacted a lot of things, but then I could take £100 into H&M and I'll buy loads of outfits for my kids. I could go into next clearance with £100 and I'll buy beautiful outfit for my kids. So those are the places I go to. Just like I said, choose a battle wisely, do what you can, don't stress over all the things that you want to do. If you're able to achieve one out of your list, get it done. And if you're not able to complete the other two, no, there will always be time for it. But like I said, make sure you are prioritizing the things that you need to do for that day instead of leaving things to the last minute. So number 7 tip, as a mom, shower and get dressed every day. Yes, shower and get dressed every day. You don't want to be a stinking mom. You don't want to be a mom that wake up first thing in the morning, you've not brushed your teeth, you looked unkept, you are still in your pajamas. I've seen mothers going to do school runs wearing their pajamas and house coats, and I was like, I don't think I've ever done that, and you will never find me. Well, I've gone past the stage of doing school runs now. Because the kids are all grown, they go to school on their own. Only if I feel like, let me go do some mommy duties, will I kind of like drive to their school? Nowadays, will I drive to their school and go pick the youngest one up? But then my 11-year-old, she's a total independent child. She started to take her own shower herself from the age of 6. So all of them, they were really really quite early on, being independent. They do things on their own, they feed themselves, they take away their dishes away, they pack their school bags. Like, they started that at a very young age, and that was just, I would say probably that kind of like helped me, which means that I am more exhausted doing all of these things for them. They were totally independent, they would do stuff themselves. Maybe if I think that looks messy, or their hair look unkept, will I help them? But most of the time, I raised independent kids, and I actually love the fact that even till now, as they've grown now, obviously young teenagers, as they grow older, they are becoming quite lazy. So it's something I'm working on right now. So as a mom, you want to shower and get dressed every day. Don't just wake up in the morning, you have changed out of your pajamas and you're wearing an outfit when you've not had a shower, when you've not brushed your teeth. First thing first, you wake up in the morning. Like I said, if you wake up early before your kids, wake up very early in the morning, go get a shower, dress where it's not. I mean, obviously, getting dressed does not mean you have to put on full face of makeup, does not mean you have to lay your frontal. Nah. Even all this time that I'm talking about, I was not even wearing makeup then. I didn't start wearing makeup until maybe 2015. That was when I started wearing makeup. When I was having my kids, I do not wear makeup. I do not wear makeup. No, because obviously I don't know how to do makeup on myself. I learned when I started having the time. So you want to wake up in the morning, get a shower, change into a t-shirt and a jeans, make yourself comfy. Don't be stinky, don't tie a wrapper around your body and stuff like that. So that's that. But for the fact that you've woken up, you've get dressed, it will make you feel more productive. It will keep you in the spirit of, you want to get things done. I mean, I hope you guys are agreeing with me. Moms in the house, those of you that are watching, if you agree with what I'm saying, do let me know in the comment section. So number 8, number 8 point or tips that helped me, with raising these kids up, was like, I was very very individual with the kids. I would give them the attention at any time. So I remember my second oldest daughter, if I'm doing something with her older sister, she would come and want to take that position straight away. And if I see that she's interested in that thing that I was doing with her older sister, I would just do it with both of them. Then my son, he was always watching Disney cartoons. Once he's sitting in a corner, he just yanked his sneaker off. As long as he's got his pull-up pampers, you see him TV. That's him. He was a very contented child. I never had an issue with my son at all. But my two girls, they bicker a lot from when they were much younger. And when they do that now, I could just remember when they were much younger. So if I was doing stuff with my oldest, my youngest, she's quite fierce. She will come and want to take, or like she want to take the shine of the moment. And rather than scolding her, no, I just bring both of them together and do it. And before I know it, they are both playing together. So while they are playing together, I can go do something else. I can go concentrate on something else, but I'm keeping my eye on them, because most of the time when I'm at home, I'm mostly at home with them all the time. Like my husband, he just goes out to do his own thing. So, but most of the time, and that was why I said that when my kids were much younger, I kind of spent quite a lot of time with them when they were much younger as compared to when they were much older. So when they were now that they are much older, they will go to their dad for most things. And I get jealous. But then I'm like, I'm still their mom. If their dad is not able to solve whatever they've gone to him for, they will come to me. So I'm still not missing out in any way. So that's what I'm saying, that having multiple kids is hard, trying to give them individual attention. But when you are doing a particular a particular task or activity with one child, try and get the others involved. Or if they come around showing interest in what you are doing with one other sibling, try and get the remaining ones interested as well, so that they both enjoy the activity at the same time. And see, by the time they both enjoy the activity at the same time, they might all just get tired, and before you know it, they're all lying in a corner on the sofa. And at times I will find my son behind the back of the sofa. He's asleep. I will have to go lift him up and lay him on the couch or take him to the room. They all just disappear and lie somewhere. So I'm like, placing them where I will easily see them. So that's why I said, give individual attention to your kids. And if one is having an individual attention and the other one comes and wants to take away the shine, just get both of them or all of them interested in what you are doing with that particular one, and then you keep them engaged. So that's another thing that helped me. And another tip that helped me was, I mentioned this earlier, was like, if there's something you really needed to do and it will only cost you or last you a minute to do it at that instant that you think, oh, it will only take me a couple of minutes to do this. Do it. Don't leave it to, oh, when I have other things to do, I'll have it, because that thing you could do in a minute, if you leave it till later, you might be there for another 5 minutes, you might be there for another 20 minutes. So, do it right then. Don't put it away. If you want to, if your text comes in while you're holding your phone and it's something you can reply to straight away, reply to it straight away. Don't leave it till later. If you're going to throw a junk mail away and you're just walking towards where the box is, just take the junk mail, put it away. If there's any other appointment that comes to your mind that you think you need to do and it only takes a minute, do it. Don't leave it till later. Don't leave it till the last minute. Those are the things that I did. It helped me with my coursework while I was at uni the first time, and when I went for my nursing degree as well, it helped me. But most of the time, I always leave my assignment till the last minute. Don't do as I did. Don't do what I did. I always leave my assignment till the last minute. And me leaving my assignment till the last minute was not because I knew what I was doing. Me leaving it to the last minute was because I was struggling with what I was supposed to do. I don't have a clear understanding of what I was supposed to do. So I'm a late learner, a late and slow learner. Like, when we are in class, some of the other girls, you see, they're like, oh, I already have 5,000 words. And I'll be like, I've not even started. How come you have 5,000 words of essay already? So if a particular course is meant to take us 12 weeks of class lecture, some people by the second, third week, they're already writing their essays. But for me, my knowledge is probably starting to deepen by the 12th week or by the 10th week. So you can imagine a class of 11 that took us 11 weeks. Some, they're already starting their essay at third week of the lecture. While me, because the way I'm wired, it's by the 10th or 11th week that I'm starting to gain better understanding, which means that I'm now rushing to do my assignment, which is not the best way to go about it. But obviously, that's just how I learn. I'm, like I said, as well, when I'm writing my essays, I'm a visual learner. So rather than going online to search for articles, I'd rather get textbook, like get physical textbook, or if there's anything I'm meant to be using for my article or for my assignments, I print them out. So I have a paper just like after I've got my notes here. I've typed them out and I've printed them out. But if I need to start seeing it off it, I might miss something. So I'm a visual learner. I do things visually, and in that way, it helps me to be more, descriptive. It helps me to be more say things clearly that people will know where I'm coming from and understand where I'm going to. So that way, live by the minute rule. If it's 5 minute rule or anything that you're going to do, if it's going to take 5 minutes, do it. So you don't spend more than 5 minutes. If it's going to take you 10 minutes and you know you have that 10 minutes at that instant to do it, do it. So that's one of the other things that helps me to strive and to survive looking after my 5 kids. It's amazing. I've done an amazing job. I know that. I know that. So tip is just to to encourage mothers who are in the abroad, who have no family. Even till right now, none of my families live with me. None of my families live close by to me. My mom and my dad are back home in Nigeria. My two younger sisters are back home in Nigeria. My elder brother is in London. And the last time I saw him was in 2016 when I went for a wedding. That was the first time I saw him when he arrived. First and last time I saw him. Yeah, since he arrived in the UK. So I've not seen him like for 13 years prior to me seeing him in 2016. And since 2016, I've still not seen him. And we are both in the United Kingdom. So he is in England, I'm in Scotland. He has his own family as well. So is it the one I'm going to ask to come babysit my kids for me? Even though by the time he came into the UK, my kids were already young teenagers. So, you know, so I think I've spoken the number 10, I've just kind of mentioned, like, use a 10-minute clean philosophy. See, if anybody comes to your house and tell you that your house is dirty, tell them that you have children. Mm? So don't say because somebody came to your house and they're like, your house looks dirty, or they don't want to come visit you because they say your house looks dirty. Tell them that you've got children. So if you have young children and somebody comes to your house and tell you your house is dirty, tell them to come and clean it for you. Yeah. If they can see that it's dirty, just say to them that you don't mind if they could do the cleaning for you. So don't get pushed. Don't allow people tell you that, oh, your house is dirty, blah, 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 blah. If you have 10 minutes to do cleaning in your house or wherever you live, use that 10 minutes and drop it, like do your best and leave the rest. That's it. Like my mom always said that, anybody that comes to your house of someone that has multiple children and that person is telling you that your house is dirty, tell that person to come and do your housework for you. Simple. If it means they're not going to come to your house anymore, fine. But you saw me with multiple kids, lots of children, which in law on its own, it's a struggle. And then you're coming to my house and you're telling me that my house is dirty. Sis, that's a mopping bucket there. Do you mind mopping my bathroom floor for me? So if you have 10 minutes of your time, do your cleaning. It might not be all the time. So maybe today you have extra 10 minutes or extra 20 minutes and you think, oh, that place looks dusty. Yeah, you can dust that. And then the following day, you think you have 2 minutes or 5 minutes. Oh, I'm going to use this 2 minutes to dust my headboards, So that was one of the things I did. And for me, then, I think I intentionally did this. When it comes to housework, then, I was leaving it to my husband. I was leaving it for him to do. Like, Mr. Man, I'm the one who's running around with these kids. You, mm, in fact, I can't remember doing a lot of housework, like cleaning and stuff. I can't remember the last time I washed our bathtub. So all those years, it was the one who do all of the hoovering, all of the cleaning, all of the carpet cleaning, window cleaning. It was the one who was doing that. Because for me, I would possibly do the cooking, run around most of the time with the kids, and laundry, dishes. Well, then we had dishwasher. So dishwasher was helping in a way. But when it comes to like laundry, obviously when the dishwasher does the dishes, you still have to take the dishes out. So I was doing the cooking. During that time, I was the one who was doing the cooking. But now he is doing more of the cooking now. So during that time, I was the one doing all of the cooking. I just didn't bother myself about cleaning the house. It was the one who was, I think he realized that this is his job. So he was doing it. So if you have your other half there, this is also to say that don't think you are a superwoman and you are doing all the job, all the house chores or everything yourself. If you have your other half there, encourage him to help you as well. They might at first say no and no, that they're busy or stuff like that. But if you're persistent and say, you know what, you can't leave these things for me to do all by myself. I'm looking after these kids. I've got this to do. I've got this to do. You could as well spend your time and do some of the work. So you both do these kids. So you both should be involved in, making them comfortable in their environment. So the last but not the least tip, which is number 11 tips that helped me to survive and thrive while I looked after multiple kids under the age of 10, was that declutter. Oh, I was decluttering like crazy. I was decluttering like mad. Obviously the kids are growing up. So the clothes that I know that I might not be able to pass down to the younger one, I pack it up, clear it out. So for me, I was really not passing down clothes to my kids. However, I was passing down shoes. I was passing down shoes to them most of the time. So if my oldest wears a shoe and it's too small, I pass it on to my second oldest, and then she wears it, and then it's too small. As long as the color is a neutral color that the boys could wear. If it's a shoe that the boys couldn't wear, I would just take it to charity. That was what I did. So then I was buying like brown boots. I barely bought like pink shoes, red shoes, maybe a few times, but most of their shoes were like black, brown, and they were boots. So it's only summer period you see them wear sandals. Hi, Colors of Boma. Welcome, welcome. Thanks for joining again. So I was just sharing, the tips of raising multiple kids in the abroad. I've shared 11 tips so far. So you might have to go back and watch the replay if you have the time. So I'm just about talking about the last tip here. So I was decluttering a lot. And even for me then, the amount of clothes I have in here and in my under bed storage, I don't think I had quarter of it when I was raising my kids. Because then I think I didn't have friends that want to go out to drink or anything like that. Even now, I still don't have such friends. I'm a solo rider, you know. I'm a solo rider. So then I think the only place I would go to is church, and then after church, I'm back to my house. Maybe there's a few neighbors having their house birthday, they would go. So I was not kind of like fashion oriented or fashion, I don't know, fashion learned then, because my all of my attention was on my kids. But then I know to ensure that I'm not wearing tattered clothing. So if I see something I like, I'll buy and wear. So for the kids, I was decluttering a lot. So most of their clothes were, because I made sure they use their clothes, because I was paying a lot of money for it. If any of you remember Woolworths, that was where I was buying most of their clothes, and Woolworths had lots of Disney character clothing. So my kids love Disney, so that's where I'll buy most of their clothes. So they wore their clothes to the best, like they wore it. And if I think, and there's no way I'm going to pass this down to the younger ones, I just declutter. It was most of their shoes that I was passing down, school bags and stuff like that. So that was what that helped me when they were all below the age of 10. And obviously when they were all below the age of 10, they were already starting to go to school. So it starts to get much better. My oldest started primary one. Before I knew it, the second one started school as well. Before I knew it, the third one started school. Last one started school. It was just going like that. It was still going like that. And just like I said, learning to drive. I started driving in 2016. So by 2016, my oldest was 10 years old, because she was born in 2004. So she was probably 12, if that math is correct. So she was born in 2004. 10, 16. So she was 12 years old in 2016. So which means that she will have just been going into secondary school. And my second oldest will have been 11 in 2006, in 2016. So she will have just started secondary school as well. So my third will have been maybe 9. And it was just about, I think it was just about finishing primary 7 in primary school. So there was not a lot of gap in how they were progressing into school. So now in current year, like I said, I started driving in 2016, and my life got much better. My life got much better, which means that I don't have to wait for my husband to take me anywhere. If I need to go out somewhere, as long as I know my way, I would go. It's only if I'm going somewhere new, somewhere I've never been before, will I ask him to, like, do you mind driving, so that I get familiar with the road, because I mean, I passed my driving test on a Saturday, and I was on the motorway express on the Sunday, the following day, because I really need to build my confidence to, like, know, because it's the easiest road to, like, to get me where I was going. So like I said, if you're in the abroad and you have multiple children, God will provide for you. You need to get yourself a car, learn how to drive, like learn how to drive. For me, when I did learn how to drive, and I eventually, I was happy when I passed my driving test, and I was more than eager to take myself everywhere. Like, if I want to go to church, I don't have to encourage my husband to come to church with me, because then he was not really into church. So I would just pack all of my kids in the car. It was a 7-seater. Pack all of them in the car, and off we go to church, and we back safely. I would drop them off at school, and then I would go off to work. So I was still working in retail. So my retail job starts at 8 o'clock, and I'll leave home about 6:45 or 7, so that I could avoid the traffic. And then by 7:30, I was already dropping all of them in their various routes. So I drop all of them together, and then they just walk to their school. So the primary school and secondary school just about 5 minutes apart. So they just walk. They won't go into. So I would drop them all at the primary school, and then my oldest would just do the 5 minutes walk to their second. I could drop them, but obviously traffic are just trying to get to work before 8 o'clock. So I'll drop all of them up by 7:30, and they all just find their way. And for me, and then I drive back to work. Most of the time I get to work about 7:45, 7:50, which gives you enough time to grab a cup of tea. And then I was even able to look after myself, because most time I don't get to. Normally, if you work 6 hours, you only get one break, which is lunch break. So if I start at 8 o'clock, I don't get lunch until about lunch. I don't get break until lunch time, which is 12 o'clock. So I get half an hour lunch break, and then I finish at 2 o'clock. So once I finish at 2 o'clock, that's the comfort of having a car. I'm telling you. So if you're in the Obodo, you're a mom in diaspora. Even if you have one kid, learning how to drive will help in a lot of way. So that was just my routine then. And I'll finish work at 2 o'clock. And then by the time I change out of my uniform, I was working at Sainsbury's then, so we're allowed to wear our uniform. Unlike being a nurse now, you can't really wear your uniform everywhere. So jump in the car. It takes me about 20 minutes to get to their school. So I just park at the school gate. I park at the school gate and wait for the primary school ones to finish at 3 o'clock. And once the primary school one finish at 3 o'clock, I drive over to the other one, even though it's just like 5 minutes apart. Drive there, collect those ones because they finish at 3:30, and collect all of them, and then we head home. Once I head home, park the car, then my husband could use the car to go to his own place of work as well. So that was practically how we did things, till they were in their early youth, early teenage years. They're able to jump on the bus to go to school themselves. So we obviously moved home and they were able to get to school. So where I live currently now, the bus stop is just right across the road. All they need to do is just get down the lift, walk 2 minutes to the bus stop, and their bus takes less than 10 minutes to get to school. So, like I said, my 11-year-old now, she jumps on the bus to school herself. She goes to school on her own. She comes back to school. She comes back home on her own. She has a phone. Like people always say, oh, they don't believe in giving younger children mobile phone. Like she was in primary six when she had her first ever mobile phone. And same with my kids when they were progressing in school age. I think when they were about primary seven, that was when I got them their first mobile phone because I want them to be able to text me and say, "Mom, that's me in school," or "Mom, that's me just finished school," which they've always been able to do. So those were my tips, and I hope you all found this tip really helpful. And is I don't know if any of you has any question for me. So I'm just going to be here for another 9 minutes. I don't want this live to be over an hour. So those were the things that helped me as a mom looking after multiple children in the diaspora. Like I remember when I had my last daughter in 2010 and my mom came over. Oh my God, I was so relieved. She was there for 6 months. Before I woke up, she would have birthed my daughter. She would have prepared the ones going to school ready for them to go, and their dad would drop them off at school. So yeah, those were the things that helped me. And when it comes to cooking as well, like I batch cook, and much younger, they will practically eat everything or anything that I cook. They will eat anything. But as they get older now, I will have to ask them, like, guys, I'm cooking this. Will you eat? Because I don't want to waste food. They might say, oh, no, mom, we don't want to eat. Oh, mom, this is what they want to eat. So whatever it is they want to eat, they go out and prepare it themselves. I'm not going to prepare because I've volunteered to cook something. And if they're not going to eat what I want to cook, then let them go source for whatever they want to eat on their own. So when they were much younger, I was bad cooking a lot. I'll cook jollof rice. I'll cook fried rice. I'll cook multiple types of sauce, omiobe, egusi, and they were eating all of this soup. They were eating quite a lot of it. So that's one thing again you can do, food that you can batch cook that will stay in the fridge for like longer for like 5 days or more. Batch cook it and put it in your fridge so that even when you come back from work, you're not jumping straight in the kitchen to start cooking. You can just, take the food out of the fridge, microwave it, and serve your family. And food that you can't batch cook, that's the importance of you waking up very early in the morning and to prepare the things that you need. And again, one thing I've also observed is that if you have multiple children below the age of 5, I'm afraid to tell you, I'm afraid to blow your bubble. It will be hard for you to pursue a career. I just have to let you know that because they are not of school age. Even though if you are settled in the United Kingdom, that you won't have to pay for childcare, you will struggle because there's just only a little the government will contribute towards your childcare. And if you have multiple children who are not of school age yet, you'll probably be spending half of your salary paying for their childcare. Even both of you, if both of you are couples. So the best thing is either as long as they are below the age of school age, like in the UK, if your last child is below the age of school age, you are not necessarily required to go get a job. So let's say you have 3 kids now. The first one is 6 and in primary school. The second one is 5 and just started school. And the third one is 3. You're not required to go get a job here because your last child is not of school age. However, if all of your kids are above the school age, if let's say for example you have 3 kids and they are all in school, and there's nothing wrong with you health-wise, you're perfect, you're not struggling with anything, then you're expected to go get a job. So that way, I guess that's a push for you to know that yes, if it's education you want to pursue, that's the time for you to go do it. If it's work, job you want to pursue, that is the time for you to go do it. But if all of your kids are below the age of school age, if they are below, maybe they are just 1, 2, 3, or 9 months old, like as long as they are below the age of 5, because the school age here is 4 and above. If they are all below the age of 5, just forget about school or work. You can't, you will struggle, you will struggle. Even if you have a partner that will help you, you will struggle. So for me, when I was having my kids, obviously all of my kids were all below. I think 3 of them were all above the age of school age, because I remember when I had my second son, my last son was just starting primary. My first son was just starting primary school when I had my second son. So which means that all of them are of school age, but then I have a new baby, so I'm not required to go work. However, as women, we all have different priorities. There was something I really wanted. I really wanted to go to school. I really wanted to have a job. So even when I had my son, I was still going to uni. I was going to work. I was still doing all these things. And obviously, I had a job, but I had 1 year of maternity leave, which means I don't have to work for 1 year. And I was getting paid. I was getting SMP, statutory maternity pay. I was getting it from my employer. So, which means that I'm not struggling, and I was getting support from uni as well. Uni were covering my childcare while I was at uni as well. So also it kind of like boils down to the kind of settlement you have in the UK. So you get a permanent residency, you get lots of support from the government as compared to if you are still renewing your visa, or if you are still restricted on some things that you can claim as compared to somebody who is not resident in a country. So if you are still renewing your visa or something like that, you might be restricted for something. But for me, I was already settled in the UK. I already had my permanent residency. So it opened doors for a lot of things for me. Like I've always said in my previous videos, all the time that I was going to uni, I started from the scratch from college. And from the very start go that I started from college, my childcare has always been looked after by the college. Even when I went to uni for the first time for my first degree, I did not have to pay a penny towards my childcare. My university fees were paying for my childcare. And even when I went back for my nursing degree, and my last two were still in primary school when I went back for my nursing degree. Uni paid for my childcare. I didn't have to pay a penny. Even when I was having to spend extra days at placement, because obviously COVID struck, and that kind of like altered our learning cycle, which means I have to, instead of going to placement for 3 days a week, I was ending up going 4 days a week. So college and uni paid for the extra 1 day for childcare. So yeah, it just boils down to what you really want. So, and like I said, if you're a mom in diaspora with multiple children, as long as you're not lazy, you'll be fine. And then, like I said, so far in this life, I've not mentioned that I took my kids to any friends. Because what friend wants to babysit your kids, even though they have their own? The only time I've taken my kids to a friend was if I was going shopping, and my friend asked her, and this friend I'm saying to you, we are friends because we're next door neighbors and we go to the same church. If only maybe there's something she needed from where I was going, then rather than both of us going, she was just like, "Oh, are you able to buy this for me?" And I will just take all my kids to her. I'll go for the food shopping, bring her food shop back, and once I get back, I go take my kids. That was how we did it. But most of the time, it was me that take my kids, because it's just someone who loves children. She has her own two daughters as well. She's just someone who loves children. I think at that instant, God just blessed me with her, because even when I was having my children, she was there all the time for me. So, and I'm hoping and I'm praying that if there's any of you out there who are struggling at any time, that God will just bring that one person around you your way. And because that person's your way does not mean that you have to put all of your children responsibility on them. No, as a mom, you should be the sole carer for your children, because you can keep them safe. So that's pretty much all I've got to share on how I was able to survive and thrive with looking after multiple children, all below the age of, all under the age of 5. It was hard. I won't lie. It was hard. Winter when it was raining, it was hard. really, really hard. So yeah, I think that's all I've got to share. And if there's any other things that I did in the past that if I could remember them, I'll probably just make up a short video and just to encourage you guys out there, because I know it's a mad shock, it's a rude shock for coming from where your country of abode, where you have your family, your relatives, your mom who would help you, to a total strange environment whereby if your children cry too anyhow, they might call the police and say, "Oh, the children in this compound have been crying like this," or the children, my neighbor's children, have been crying non-stop. The police might come and the police might want to investigate, even though maybe the children are just tired, but obviously because your neighbors are just kind of like, why are these children crying like that? So the Lord is our strength, and for me, I would just say it was just God. It was just God. Because looking at them now, I know I did a great job, and if it was not God, I don't know how I would have. I don't know how I would have done it. I don't know how I would have done it. So the going was tough. It was tough, even with my husband here. It was tough, but then we survived. We thrived, and now that in their young adults and young teenage years, it's another phase on its own entirely. It's another phase because now that you talk to them, you just have to be careful how you speak to them. They tell you they can make their own decisions now. They tell you that they are grown. Maybe that will be another video or another live on its own. How to cope with young teenagers, young adults. So it's another phase that I am learning, and I have not mastered that stage yet. I have not mastered that stage yet. So, anyways, guys, thank you all so much for being a part of this live. I really appreciate those of you who are here, and don't forget to like, drop me a comment if you're going to go watch this video from the beginning again. Don't forget to drop a comment in the comment section. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to share. Don't forget to support my channel by joining my membership or making use of the super thanks, super chat. I'm sure I've got the super thanks somewhere on my channel where you can, support me with some super thanks. And that way I'm able to get it at I think YouTube pays out every 23rd of the month. So if you give me a super chat now, YouTube don't get to give it to me until the 23rd of next month. So that way, I can keep getting encouraged to coming back here to share some videos with you. So I've just got another video that I'm editing right now. So that will probably go live tomorrow. There's a public holiday here tomorrow, and I think there's public holiday in Nigeria tomorrow as well. So, anyways, guys, I hope all these tips have helped you. And if you, by the time you're watching this video, if you have any other tips on how to deal with young teenagers and young adults, please leave them in the comment for me, and I will sure go back to go watch this. So I just want to say thank you to Fashion and Lifestyle with Pearl, who always, she's always here for my lives. Thank you to Rebels for the 2 win. Thank you so much. You're always, up here for my live as well. And thank you to Colors of Boma. I really appreciate you, sis. You have been here for me all the time as well. So much love to you guys, and I hope to see you in my possibly next live or next video. And have an awesome, awesome bank holiday. Is it bank holiday? Bank holiday wherever you are. And I hope to see you all in my next live. All right. Bye, guys. Bye.